So today I'd like to talk to you guys about some classics that I have not read but do plan to read. I would like to leave out anything that I want to read this year or plan to read this year, and focus really on everything that I would like to get to starting next year up into the next kind of 5 years, and a few of those surprising classics that I've never read that I would really like to get to. So I'd like to start with probably my number one as far as an author to get to at the moment, which is Alexander Dumas, and this in particular is the Three Musketeers, the first book in the D'Artagnan romances, a series I'm really interested to get around to reading. I'm super hyped. I'm putting it off probably for another kind of 6 to 12 months before starting it, because I have such a full schedule at the moment and some classics that I plan to read this year already. But definitely this Three Musketeers very high on the list. One book that I'm a little apprehensive to start. Now, the biggest book I have currently ever read was less than 1,200 pages. So the fact that War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy is about 1,350, 60, somewhere in that page count, and it is a translated works. This is probably going to be a substantial conquest, quite a hefty read. So it's quite high up on my list, but it is probably the one I'm most nervous to start. It's going to take a lot of my time up, and it's going to be a big commitment, but definitely interested in reading that. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that the channel and myself, I like to read a lot of fantasy, so I'd like to really go back and get a grounding in fantasy. I'd like to read Beowulf. Now, I was recommended the Seamus Heaney translation, and when I saw this and picked it up a few months back, it was definitely with designs to kind of get into it in the next couple of years, to find a space, probably year after next, to try and fit this one in and give me that grounding, because I never read Beowulf when I was doing literature at schools and stuff. Never read Beowulf, so I'd like to get to that one. A few older books that I picked up. I've got this 20th century classics edition of The Great Gatsby, a book that is less read, I suppose, in the UK than it is in the US, for obvious reasons, but is still very well known and well regarded over here. And this particular copy is about to turn 50 years old, so it's a nice edition. It's in very good condition for its age, and I'm going to move straight on to a book that's even older. So this is a just over 70-year-old copy of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, and this is one of those, it's not quite hardback because it's kind of like flexi leather bound, but yeah, this is David Copperfield, one of Dickens' most famous and one of his longest stories, one that I haven't read. I love Dickens. I've read a few of his books now, but David Copperfield isn't one of them. So that definitely is a surprising one for a book reader not to have read. But obviously, I've not really read at a fast rate until the last couple of years. So I've got quite a few classics left on the hit list, so to speak, and certainly David Copperfield is on there too. If you could let me know in the comments, any classics you've not got round to, or stuff that's going to be on your slate for next year, I'd be really interested to find out.